Football Sunday. Thanks so much for joining us. And we are live on YouTube as well. So if you want to go over to our YouTube channel, you can see us live. Alex is handling our live YouTube feed. And you got myself, Jay. You got Jeff. You got the two mics. One working the board, one commentating for us as well, lending his opinion to us. If you want to jump aboard, you can go over to our YouTube channel and type in comments. Feel free to reach out on our social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and give us a call. 609-919-9200 is the phone number if you want to jump aboard. We've got a bunch of big topics in store for you today. We're going to talk Eagles as we do always. If you want to chime in with some Giants and Jets talk as well, feel free to do that. NFL talks. We got the NHL starting on October 3rd coming up. And we've got the Flyers' new mascot, Gritty. How do you like Gritty? Do you like him? Do you hate him? Are you scared of him? Feel free to jump aboard with that. And we also got the MLB playoffs starting this week. So that is getting itself all sorted out as well. And again, like I said, phone lines are open. 609-919-9200 is the phone number. And shortly, we will be joined by Teron Davenport from down in Tennessee. He will preview the Eagles and Tennessee Titans game with us and offer his opinions on the NFL as well. We'll go around the NFL a little bit with him, get his opinion on a few things. And Jeff and Mike, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, Jay. It's been an exciting week of building towards the Major League Baseball playoffs, and certainly for Eagle fans, another week to savor another, well, I don't want to say last-second victory, but pulling victory out from the jaws of defeat.
Absolutely. It took a miraculous fourth down play. They tripped up Andrew Luck and came away with the victory. Mike, were you watching that game, or were you honed in on the Carolina Panthers?
I was watching a little bit of that game. It was a pretty ugly game, with the rain, as I predicted. But yeah, I was watching most of the Panthers game. Was very happy we were able to knock the Bengals off of the undefeated ranks and actually get some sense into the people, saying that because if Cincinnati beat us and started at 0-3, I don't think the world would be the same. So. And we're on bye week this week, but I'm still repping my Panthers, my Greg Olsen jersey. Hope he gets well soon and gets back on the field.
Yeah, that's a big loss for the Panthers, actually.
Yeah,
losing the tight end.
Yeah, Greg Olsen's a big loss, but I think, with our young receiving core, I think finally starting to rise to the occasion. Christian McCaffrey has been absolutely phenomenal for us, and our defense is playing really well, I got to say.
It absolutely is.
Unlike my 49ers that suffered a catastrophic, you could say, loss in our quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo. So right now we turn the reins over to a backup quarterback. Maybe we'll have some of the same luck as the Eagles, but that doesn't happen very often in the NFL where something like that happens. So more than likely, especially when you look at the Rams being in our division, if you're the 49ers, you don't want to do something stupid and trade away, future picks or something this year because at this point, that you're not beating the Rams in the division. I mean, it's not going to happen. So pack it in, get a high draft pick, and, get ready for 2019.
So not that there's any great quarterbacks out there on the free agent market, but you wouldn't advocate then trading for a backup quarterback.
Not at this point. Not with the fact that you look at how good the Rams are. I mean, the Rams are just one of the Rams are, if not the best team in the NFL right now.
What do you think, Mike? If you were the 49ers, would you go out and trade for a backup quarterback, or would you just kind of ride it out?
If I was them, I would get somebody immediately. I did hear talks about them going after Jay Cutler, of all people, and I really think that's a stupid idea.
I don't want anything like that. I don't want anything like that. What are you giving up? What are you doing?
They don't need Jay Cutler. They don't.
No. Just ride it.
They gotta find somebody else.
Ride it out. Ride this thing out. It's the season's ways. You lost your running back before the season started. Now you've lost your quarterback, so you're already hobbled on offense. Now it's going to be one of those years, unfortunately, for the 49ers. And you don't want to go out there and make a deal or make a trade and give up a piece of your future for something that's really not going to happen for this season. So, I mean, I know you don't want to pack it. I know it's only the third game of the year, and you don't want to necessarily pack it in and call it a season. But the combination of losing a quarterback like Garoppolo and the fact that you have the Rams in your own division, even if they trade for a quarterback, they're not beating LA. That's what it comes down to. So
No, I didn't think they were going to beat LA going into the season, but I thought they could possibly be a wild card team and compete for one of the wild cards, mostly Jeff here. I would probably just let the season present itself and just ride it out like Jeff said, and whatever happens, happens, and get that high draft pick, because that way you get closer to the Rams and you start building a little bit more. Maybe you get a really good offensive lineman, or you get a really good wide receiver.
Wait, did you see that game on Thursday night? I mean, that was like a circus. I mean, touchdown. It was like every possession, tit for tat. But that's the Rams. I mean, the Rams just have that kind of offense where, Goff is just having, Goff has tons of weapons right now. The defense is awesome. They are as complete a team as we've seen in a couple of years.
And I'll throw this out to you guys. Do you guys think the Rams are changing the way that we view rookie quarterbacks? Because if you look
Goff's not a rookie.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is the way we view rookie quarterbacks, because Goff came into the league. Granted, he had a terrible head coach. In Jeff Fisher, but he comes into the league and literally stinks it up for a year. Yeah. He looks absolutely pathetic.
Well, so did Troy Aikman when he came in.
But I'm saying, do you think we're changing the way that we're viewing quarterbacks? Because he comes in and everybody's saying he's a colossal bust in his first year. They wipe out the coaching staff, bring in a new one, and now all of a sudden, within the past 2 years, all of a sudden, Goff is looking amazing as a quarterback. So, do you think we need to change our viewpoint on how we view young quarterbacks and give them more time before we label them a bust?
Well, I think with some quarterbacks, you just got to be patient and look at what they have around them and the coaching and so forth. I mean, there are so many elements to it that if you have a coach like Fisher, you're really hamming limiting what a young quarterback can do. So to me, you have to look at all the ingredients that go around the quarterback. I mean, if you look at Cleveland right now, look at that. Look at what Cleveland has, on their young quarterback right now, and you can just see the fact that with all the draft picks and all the talent that they've been able to accumulate through the drafts is now starting to pay dividends for Cleveland.
Yeah, what do you think, Mike?
This Rams team has shown a lot of progress through these past 2 years. Todd Gurley is at full health. He has been an absolute stud in the backfield. And Jared Goff, with Sean McVay as head coach, a young coach, but a young coach that knows how to use their system and the plays that they want to run. And their play selection is, I think, one of the best I've ever seen. And I just think that they are a complete team. They have good receiving core. Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp. 3 fast guys, not really sense tall wise, but they're all very fast and they all can just make plays with their legs. And their defense, again, just incredible.
Oh yeah. That's why the Rams right now are looking at, are going into today undefeated, looking very good on offense, and look to be a team to be reckoned with whenever you go up against them.
I got to take your temperature, Jay, right now.
Okay.
When it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, as we circle back to Philadelphia, What is your, how nervous are you right now about this team? Because 2 wins they've had, they've kind of had to, really kind of pull it out towards the end of the game. How nervous are you regarding this team?
I wouldn't say nervous per se because now they're starting to get a little healthier. They still got some people on the IR that down the line, a little bit later on, in about another month or two, they're going to have to make a decision on whether or not they bring them back. And that's going to be something to follow as we get into late October and early November. But they're getting Alshon Jeffrey back. You're getting Jay Ajayi back for today. You still have Darren Sproles, who's battling the hamstring injury, but eventually he's going to be back because the Eagles haven't IR'd him yet. So they're just waiting for his hammy to heal up and for him to be healthy. They're taking the long-term view with Darren Sproles, but they're getting Ajayi back and they're getting Alshon Jeffrey back, which will help their wide receiver core. So they've got Carson Wentz back, quarterbacking the team, and we saw the difference in offense when Carson Wentz was under center as opposed to Nick Foles. So that's a good thing. So I'm not really as concerned.
What about the loss of Rodney McLeod?
Rodney McLeod is going to be a huge loss. Why? Because they're bumping up Corey Graham into his role. So he's going to take over some of the duties that Rodney McLeod did. Will he be as good as McLeod? Probably not. Will they have to promote somebody else or figure out another player to fill the role that McLeod made? Yes. Could it be one of the corners? It could be. Will they have to maybe play defense a little bit differently? Probably. They'll give offenses a little bit different look now that they don't have Rodney McLeod in there. Definitely a huge loss because he played a really good safety for the Philadelphia Eagles. But again, it's that mentality that the Eagles have had.
Let me ask you a
Next
question.
man up.
Let me ask you a question. If you're Marcus Mariota, are you picking on that secondary for the Eagles in this game?
I would try to if I had the secondary, because the secondary has largely been struggling the first couple of games.
That's where I was going with this. Yes.
For the Philadelphia Eagles, and part of that is due to the defensive line not applying enough pressure to the opposing quarterback. So that kind of goes hand in hand. The better your rush, the less time
and the Titans
have.
And the Titans have a good offensive line. We'll get into this with Teron Davenport in a few minutes, but the Titans have a very good offensive line.
They absolutely positively do.
So it's going to be an interesting battle to see if those linemen can get to Mariota.
And the Eagles have struggled on the road more than they have at home. That's something to take into account as well. The Eagles are a tremendous home team, but when they go out on the road, that's when they tend to struggle a little bit. They're not quite as good on the road as they are at home. But if you look at Twitter and you look at social media, I'm telling you, all you see on social media when I type in Eagles and everything, the Philadelphia Eagles are once again taking over a city. This time it's Tennessee. They have a huge contingent of Eagles fans down in Tennessee for this one. So it could wind up being a home game for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, the Eagle fans travel well. That's something that we've learned over the past season or two. They are the defending world champions, so you expect fans to travel around the league and to represent their world champions as they progress through the season. And the expectations are that they, of course, try and bring home at least another division title.
Absolutely. I think that's what you go into this season. You want a deep playoff run. You don't know if you're going to get back to the Super Bowl or not. That's extremely tough.
But today, what you want is you want to win over Tennessee.
Absolutely. That goes a long way because, again, home field advantage, I think, in the NFC is going to determine quite a bit down the road who has it, who doesn't have it, where the playoffs go through. Is it going to go through L.A. and the Rams? Is it going to stay and go through Philadelphia again, or will there be a surprise team that all of a sudden leaps up and takes control of the NFC?
And of course, for those baseball fans out there, we have reached game 162 of the season. It's a long time coming, obviously, but we are here,
Yes,
game
finally.
162. And there is a lot to look at today if you're not interested in the NFL, but you want to turn on some baseball. Yes, there is a lot still to be decided in the National League. 2 division championships are at stake. The National League West is at stake with Colorado and the Dodgers. And, of course, in the Central, you have the Cubs in Milwaukee that are fighting it out. Both those teams are tied atop their division, so maybe we'll actually see some games tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see on that, but some tiebreakers. We'll have to wait and see on that. But at this point, today, first things first, these 2 teams will go out and try to see if they can settle it today, settle these divisions. We know that these teams are headed to the playoffs. So right now it's a matter of jockeying for position, jockeying for home field. Certainly Atlanta didn't help themselves in their race to try to get home field against whoever wins the West by losing yesterday to the Phillies. Hey, the Phillies actually won a game.
Oh my God!
Phillies actually won. They shut out, Jay. They pitched a shutout.
The streak
Of
is
course-
over.
Of course, it was Aaron Nola who did it. So congratulations, Aaron Nola, on a fabulous season. He puts a bow tie on his season, on his tremendous year, and he'll now go into the offseason over 200 innings pitched. Very solid year for Aaron Nola as he goes into the offseason as probably going into next year as the unquestioned ace of the team.
Absolutely. Nola is the ace of the Phillies, so they don't have to fill that role. Now you have to look for a number 2 and a number 3 and maybe a number 4.
4, and maybe a number
Yeah.
5 and number 6.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to be determined with the Phillies roster. We'll get into that in our second hour. We'll come back. We'll talk a little more about the NFL, and we'll get into, obviously, I think maybe we'll get into, hopefully, hopefully a nice conversation on where this NFL policy really is going with this roughing the passer rule. So we'll get into that when we get back.
You're listening to the Sports Skillet Radio Show, cooking up all the hot takes. Jump in and
Jay.
join us at 609-919-9200.
Jay, do you want me to keep going through the breaks?
Download
What?
our
Keep going
app
through the
at
breaks?
sportsskilletradio.com.
No.
Cut it.
Find us on Twitter